Where I found Genflow's place is that the right creators who have big goals in life, they realize that by having a partner on board to provide them the operations, the infrastructure, and the business know-how is a smart thing to do. And that's essentially been it. And in that, then there's different strands. We can help them with content production, brand deals, and lots of other stuff over time. But fundamentally, we become their trusted business partner. And we're very boutique because of that. Because the goal is like we want to be the most trusted person in their life, more than their
Yeah.
mom and dad or whoever else, because we make people a lot of money, and it's built around trust.
What's going on? What's up? It's your boy, it's your host, Jamar Jones, and welcome to another banger of an episode with the Foureva Podcast, where we talk about things that are business and things that are personal because business is personal. I am the founder of Forever Media. I'm also a national speaker and then the author of the book Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. And we're about to do that today as we got a guy. I always like to give a quick little story about how we got connected. Um, a guy that actually I came across on YouTube. Um, and so, yeah, keep putting that content out, it helps. But, and my business is, kind of changed too, because I was more into the agency space at the time. We still have clients, we still have stuff moving, but we're also getting more into the traditional media space. Um, and I was just curious about how other people were doing it. And your videos came across very relatable to me. I was able to kind of be like, okay, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. Different kind of spaces, but the business owner mindset of how are you maneuvering? How are you making decisions? How are you hiring, firing? How are you moving through all that? And so I came across him, got connected on LinkedIn, and then just kind of been following his content, and I was kind of banging on his door a little bit because I was like, "Hey, man, like I would love to just get you on this podcast. It's we got amazing guests on here, so I'm so excited to have Shan Hanif on the podcast. Thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate it, man. Let me know what's going on in your life.
Come on, first of all, thank you so much. Yeah, to be honest, I don't do many podcasts, and I think this is probably my second or third ever external podcast. I have my own, so not really been obviously when you're head down focused building your own stuff. Like as much as content, I believe is massively important, and everyone should be creating it. I'm always trying to balance that alongside running the business. Yeah, so my name is Sean. I guess very, very quickly for anyone listening in, left my job about 7 years ago, saw this thing happening, social media, saw the people on social media, which we now call creators, we used to call them influencers. And I just kind of I knew from a long time ago that if you have attention, you'll be able to turn that into money. And essentially started a business called Genflow, which does just that, works with your favorite YouTubers, Instagrammers, TikTokers, and we help them make money. We primarily do three things. We help people sell content through paid platforms, memberships, and all that stuff. We help people start their own businesses. So I'm talking clothing brands, supplement brands, and pretty much a product that a creator can sell to their audience. We don't do merch. We do everything but merch. So it's all like the better stuff than t-shirt printing. And lastly, we help creators work with brands. So, in that space, yes, what's happened, built an agency, raised a bunch of money. We employ 100 plus people, offices in London and LA. I'm in Dubai currently. So yeah, what's going on right now? Honestly, like just blessed to be living my dream. That's the most simplest way I can put it. So everything I dreamed about when I left my job, I'm doing it. Because everybody has this dream of I want to run my own business. I want to make money. I want to enjoy doing it. Right now, it's 9:15 at night. It's been a packed day, but I'm here and I'm
Yeah.
loving it. After this, I've got two phone calls. I truly believe life is in like chapters, and the chapter I'm living in right now is like make the most of this opportunity that I find myself in. So yeah, that's what's going on. Excited to be
Yeah.
here, and let's get into it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're a serial entrepreneur, investor, creator. You've grown Genflow, and you're continuing to grow Genflow. So, just tell me a little bit about like what was your day like today, like just from an operator, a business owner. what happened in your day to day, so people can kind of get a glimpse of what that life is like?
Yeah, sure. Honestly, yes, I woke up, I think it was like 8:45. I'm not the type of guy that has morning routines and whatever else. I wake up first thing, grab my phone, and I'm
Yeah,
checking my messages immediately and seeing what's up. Everything is good. In the game that I'm at, when you have lots of clients, high profile clients, things going on, you're naturally always conscious of, is everything okay? And
yeah,
everything was okay. From there, to be honest, yeah, I sat down on my table and started to just catch up on emails, messages. There's a few things overnight. Again, time zones, US. Yeah, after that, I hit the gym. I'd almost train every single day. I love it. It's probably my thing that like centers me. And straight
yeah.
after that, we where did I start today? Actually, good question. So I had a few phone calls. One call was with my chairman. We're just figuring out, I guess, some strategic moves around the business about potential more investment into the business or not. So I kind of caught up with him on that topic. He has been meeting some investors on my behalf. So that was a good conversation. After that, I had a call with my
Cool.
CFO. We ran through this month's forecast. Obviously, it's a last day of May.
Yep.
I'm very on top of the numbers, so we're checking like where do we land compared to forecast versus actual results. Again, very very important for anyone running a business to be running the numbers properly. So
Yeah.
yeah, checked in there, all looked good. We hit the target. So with us, like each of our creator has a target. Normally, what happens is five people miss it, but other people overdo it. So overall, as
Yeah.
long as we hit the goals, we're happy.
Right.
So yeah, we did hit our goal, so I was super pleased about that. And it's kind of been the story this year. Each month we keep hitting our goals, so it feels we're in a good place. Honestly, from there, on every Wednesday I have a 1 hour catch up with my leadership team. So the way the company split up is I have 9 people underneath me that run each department of like the business.
Yeah.
So I have a catch up with them just to go through main priorities, anything they're stuck with, where do they need my help. Checked in with those guys, everything was good. After that, went super tactical. I went straight into a call with the developers. We're working on a very big project launching in 2 months. I was in there on the designs, like figuring out UI, interface, what's going to work, what's the feature going to work. An hour later, jumped on the call with the client and 6 of their team members,
Okay.
talked them through the thing we just discussed and how we're going to build it. Where are
Yeah.
we? Again, so as much as I've just said I'm CEO, 100 people, like I have no problem being like straight into the deep end and being
Yeah.
like, why is this screen like this? I don't understand. This thing doesn't make sense. Tell me
Right.
more. So yeah, did that call with the client, went well. So yeah, and to be honest, like in the middle of that, Slack's going off, emails, etc. But yeah, just another day
Yeah.
doing what I love, juggling millions of things. Yeah, and I love it, to be honest. I love being busy. I love having lots of notifications. I'm the opposite of what people chase. And and yeah, now we're here. To be honest, had dinner and stuff with the family, put my daughter to sleep, and
Yeah.
now we're here doing this. So that's been the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, I do feel like you're built different, than a lot of these, everybody kind of aspires to be that entrepreneur, but dude, this is real work. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you got to have that grit. This is not all just fast cars and jewelry. I mean, this is real life, And also when
yeah,
you have employees as I'm building up my team, you have real people's lives on the line, that are counting on every single decision, every single thing that you're doing. And as much as you want to take risk and do things that are on trend and take advantage of opportunities, you always have some kind of, challenge or something kind of weighing on your shoulder. Like if this don't work out, this could be, people's lives. So I do feel like you're 100% built different because you love that chase, you love that grind. Um, in this space of having like 100 plus employees, what is the biggest challenge that you're facing with that, and how do you overcome that? I mean, growing to that magnitude, and now you have that over your shoulders. I know you have a great team, but what is some of the biggest challenges that you face with that?
yeah. I think that the biggest challenge is that you lose the team feeling for sure.
Yeah.
So when we were 12 people, we did 12 million in sales that year. We went to LA. I rented a house. We were in the house for 6 weeks. Like, we were living it
Yeah.
together. I took the team to Lakers game, UFC. What I mean is that team feeling disappears when you go past like 40, 50. So that becomes hard from that. So the challenge is you now run a company, even though you called, you have an amazing team. The truth is, the team that I work with, who have been with me for 4 years, yes, but outside of that, you don't know people personally. You've not spent
Yeah.
time with them, and that's the hard bit because you can't change those people's opinion of you. Like, I could have someone in our company who thinks like I'm an asshole or I'm just not this, I'm not that, and there's no way for me to make them think a certain way. So I think the lack of control that you get as you scale is something you have to become very comfortable with because it's a very natural thing and there's nothing you can do about it. Of course, you can create a culture. We've done culture stuff, DNA stuff. What do we stand for? All of
Yeah.
that stuff, right? Like we do all the things you expect, but they're all like things. Nothing's going to change having dinner with somebody and getting to know them. And I can't
Yeah.
have dinner with 100 people. And we do company events and all that stuff. But again, everything, it's a company event. It's not like you're hanging out with your friends. So I
Right.
think any company that truly builds to something, they have this group of people that became friends and they did shit together. So it's hard to replicate that. And no doubt it's happening in parts of the company, just without me.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like I see that there's a new group of people, they're always hanging out and they're doing lots of stuff. I'm just not part of it and they don't know me. So they kind of have their own version of what I'm saying. So I think that's the
Yeah.
reality that you got to be comfortable with that it's not going to feel the same. That's probably the hardest challenge, even for me, because I have to almost have 17 different versions of me to be able to manage the business.
Right.
Because, I have to
Yeah.
be the big CEO that makes everyone feel good and talks to everybody at once. I have to be my core team. I've got to manage them a different way. The new 19-year-old girls slash people who've joined, like, it's completely different. So they're
Yeah.
scared to
Yeah.
even speak to me because I'm the CEO. So I think that's the hard stuff. It's like
Yeah.
dealing with just people and their emotions and everything else, and having someone who's 45 in your company and who's 19. It's like
Yeah.
it's completely different people. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
some of the stuff.
yeah, yeah, and that's all the kind of the pains of scaling, and growing. And you got two offices, one in London, one in LA. Everybody listening to this podcast, definitely dive in to Shan's content on YouTube because he has tons of videos talk about his backstory and how he got here. A couple interesting questions I have for you when it comes to raising money. So that's been something that's really been um, kind of heavy in your playbook, as far as with raising money. Do you recommend that, for, entrepreneurs or, for people to really expedite the process in their business? And then also, what are some of the challenges that come with raising money? Because obviously you have investors, you have advisory boards, you got, a little bit more people over your shoulder where you can't just quickly make a decision maybe and pivot away.
Yeah, I think it depends on the goal. I think what 99% people actually want, they want to build a cash flow business
Yeah.
that makes them escape the 9 to 5, gives them some freedom, and that's what you actually want. But what happens is you get stuck. You don't know how to grow, so you think money is the answer, and that's why you want to raise money. So I think those people, and for that reason, you should not raise money. But if you want to build a real big business that is going to become massive and you have the stomach to run a big business and then sell that business one day, that's a different trajectory. And then you need to raise money because essentially you're going to do a bigger thing. So I think that's
Mm,
like, so there isn't a right answer. But the thing for me, I think 99% people should not raise. Even the ones that do, they struggle with it because you have this pressure of I got to deliver bigger numbers because ultimately, why as an investor wants you to build your business faster so they get a return one day once they sell their shares. But that's only going to work if you follow through the plan and actually build faster than you could organically. Because what is it, right? So like organically you can build without money. With the money you can go faster. But
right.
it's only in certain businesses in certain way. Otherwise, keep going organically. So yeah, I guess I chose that way because I was trying to do something big, and I realized that and I'm on this trajectory, right? So I'm not in the game of a cash flow business. I'm trying to build a business that I can sell and exit one day. So it's different strategic. My plan is different, right? If I was running a
Yeah.
normal agency, I would sell courses, I would do masterminds, I would do all the stuff that you see because it's easy cash. But you can't sell such a business. To sell a business, you got to build real IP and be able to sell it one day. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, and how did you go about raising the money? So I know in one of your videos you do talk a lot about just relationship building. I mean, yeah, as much as you can go through certain channels and accelerator programs and things like that to raise the funds, but really it comes down to relationships. But how did you go around kind of raising the funds continually? Because it seems like it got bigger and bigger as you went through and raised that.
I think I raised 50,000. It was pounds, about $75,000. Then it was
Yeah.
around about a few $100,000, then $1 million, then $11 million. So yes, I think to be honest, I didn't know anybody. So the very first one was me just looking on like investment websites, and I happened to find someone on there, which is like the most random thing. I thought it was a scam. The guy turned out to be not a scam, and he was just a couple of years older, had a very successful business, and was like, I want to invest in some startups. Obviously, this was 2015, so very different
Yeah.
world. Tech economy was booming. But I think right now, I think when it comes to it depends on your stage ultimately. So, for anyone listening, essentially your business in an investment world, there's stages. So the seed stage is essentially you're trying to plant the seeds to grow a business. People will accept you having less revenue, you'll have low valuation, but people will take a chance on you. So right now, AI companies with the great ideas are getting funded. Almost nothing else is at the seed stage. So I think the answer to the question is you need to know what stage your business is actually at. People are trying to go raise money from Sequoia or Anderson Horowitz, like some of the biggest investors,
Yeah.
with an idea. It's not going to
Yeah.
work. You have to look at what stage does the investor invest at, and then which vertical do they invest at. So, for example,
Mm,
my last I raised from BGF, they call British Growth Fund. They're one of the biggest investors in Europe. They invest in agencies, direct to consumer brands, and
yeah.
they like to normally invest in profitable businesses that are growing 30% plus year on year. So you have to meet their criteria. So I think it's actually not that hard to find the investors if you're doing it the right way, which is like, okay, I need to find everyone that invests in my space. And the way you
Yes.
can do that is go to AngelList, great website. You can go and search investment firms by vertical, by type, and stuff like that. So essentially, you need to do the research of like, which are the 30 firms that invest in media agencies that are
Yeah.
this level, blah, 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 blah. And if you
Yeah.
fit in their criteria, and you'll be able to find that, listen to podcasts of the partners of the firm. So if you really do your work, you'll realize that actually these guys invest in companies just like me. But then it
Right.
comes down to, do you know someone that knows them? Probably not. Can you reach out to founders of their portfolio businesses and trying to say to them, hey, I would love an introduction and go that way, or cold outreach to the partners themselves at the firm and say, hey, I run this business, I've checked, I fit all your stuff. Here's
Yeah.
a very brief document about me and what I'm looking for is to raise 5 million and this is what I want to do. So basically, if you're very clear and crisp to the right people, of course they'll respond because their job is to invest. They're sitting every single day and looking and finding companies. So if you come along with the right thing, people will respond. But most
Yeah.
people are basically completely messaging the wrong investors who don't like someone will be investing in aerospace, but they're with the agency trying to pitch them. And it's like
Yeah.
the guy can't invest in you. It's not if he wants to.
Yeah.
When someone raises a fund, they cannot invest outside of the parameters they've agreed. So I think people just don't understand the investment space. That's my
Yeah.
experience of it because I didn't. I had to do the homework to realize to then not find the challenge of who would I like to raise from.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that's what I would say is the how I go about and how I've
Yeah.
raised like four times since
No,
then.
that's great. I mean, so do your homework, people. I mean, you gotta really do your research, do your due diligence, to find
It's a
the right
job in
partners.
itself. So
Yeah.
raising money is like 3 to 6 months, and you almost can't run the business because it's that intense. Because you have to develop a full business plan, like a 5-year financials. You need to know every single detail possibly, not about your business, about the industry. And you have to be an expert in the industry. Someone's like, I trust you. You're going to build something that's going to win in this space.
Right.
So when I speak to investors, I'm like, I know creators more than anyone else in the world because I do. I've sat with them, I sat right next to them, and we've launched
Right.
stuff or we've built channels to millions of subscribers. And they're like, they believe you, right? So it's like you have to have that level of like, if I'm going to back someone in this space, is this guy?
Right.
That's the ultimate thing an investor's looking for. Is like, can I back this person? You know,
Yeah.
that's it. It's almost like an artist at a music label, right? Like, does this guy have the thing, the
Yeah.
star thing? Do I trust him? Can he make the number one song?
Yeah.
Nothing else really matters. Like ultimately, that's what people are looking for. It's driven by how good you are.
Yeah, yeah, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. Um, no, that's cool. Let me switch gears real quick as you were just talking about kind of the creator economy. How did you see that before it became what it is today? I mean, you guys have so many amazing things from the Genflow tech platform to Genverse. These things that are so ahead of our time, but you've created them now, but you also knew this was coming. So why did you go in that direction so heavy when it was more of an influencer game and everybody was like, well, I don't know what's really
Yeah.
going on. Is it a real business? Is what's really happening? Like, how
Can
did
you
you?
really make money? Is it a
Yeah.
fad? Like, what is this thing? Like, people laughing. Like, and now, it's so interesting. Going back to just one point of the investors. When I was first pitching for investment, people would laugh at me that people are going to buy things of people on social media. Like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? Like, social media is like sharing pictures of your dog and your food and whatever. Those same partners of the same investment firms now, their kids are on TikTok 7 hours a day. So 56% of the world is on social media now. Gen Z spends 7 hours a day on social media. That is why creators have all the attention and the power and make shitloads of money because
Right.
it's where the attention is. So coming back to, I guess, how, obviously, for, my background has always been buying and selling stuff online,
Yep.
being eBay, Amazon, power seller. So I understood digital marketing, let's call it, from the moment it was born. So, and then I was a big, I've always been a computer geek basically. So from the moment internet started, I was on dial-up internet. So, I'm older, I'm 34, but I had an older brother. So we always had computers at home, whatever. So I was
Yeah.
like, I was born, I remember being fascinated with the internet from the very beginning. So the point is that forums became so big, which was the first iteration of social media. And I was a massive
Yep.
user of forums. So when forums moved to mobile, essentially is what social media is today, it was just this thing of like people want to know from other people, and social media made that happen. So social media made it easy for you to be able to see another person's life. I was fascinated with that. I was like, if I can see what someone's doing in a day, surely I'd want to know what they eat, how do they train, or what music do they listen to, or how do they
Yeah.
dress. Because I was naturally thinking that I'm looking at this guy who's living in the US, and before the internet that wasn't possible. Because of social media it's possible, and I'm seeing what this guy is doing. I'm like, this is cool. And then you
Yeah.
start trusting that person. Then I remember the thing that prompted the business was, I was like, why do I trust this random guy online and for advice through content, even if it's written in a forum or a blog post, versus
Right.
an author who's selling on Amazon, and I don't trust that guy. So, for example, if someone's creating, I was in bodybuilding.com, if someone's selling a fitness program, or
Right.
sorry, someone's talking about their diet, I trust this guy, don't know who he is, could be a fake person, instead of a book written by some professor with all the degrees. So I think the inkling was, I was like, if I can trust this person, lots of people are going to trust this person. If I can
Right.
trust this person, I would spend money buying something from this person. And that was it. And that is why I fell into it basically. And I was like, let me test it. Emailed 1,000 influencers in 2014, 15, convinced them they should
Wow.
sell content. Yeah. And 100,000 was like the 5 million now, if you think about like number size of audience in those days. So
Yeah.
I convinced one girl, hey, you create this fitness content. Why don't you sell it? She was like, what do you mean sell it? I was like, we can turn this into like a training program and sell it. I was one of the first people in the world that started training programs as a product online like digital product. It was a
Yeah.
thing. So, people would sell you, even online coaching. All of this didn't exist. It wasn't a thing, basically. So we turned it into a thing. We launched a thing called Athlete, which is still live today, which was the first fitness app like on the App Store.
Yep.
And the rest is history since then. So how we fell into it was that's how we early on stuff. I guess I've been very fascinated with consumer behavior since I was very young. Since I was I was 11 selling stuff to other school kids. So I guess I've always been that person who kind of knows what people want before they
Yeah.
know what they want. And I
Yeah.
guess that's kind of my thing. So right now I'm working on a productivity drink because I know how much procrastination and all this is a problem. I can see the market is just going to explode because it is exploding.
Yes.
That people want to spend money to become more productive. That's it. Doesn't matter how much
Yeah.
money, whatever. If you can save someone time, make them work smarter, better, feel good about themselves, people will pay you money. So again, I know that's coming. So it's like I want to build in that space. So I think that's
Yeah.
always been me. So I think it's just being very curious and very consumer centric. When I walk into a place, I'm the guy that's like, I'll notice what people are wearing, what people are doing, more so than trying to make conversation with people and being social. I analyze everything basically.
Yeah.
Like on
Yeah.
this phone call, first thing I'm like, what's your background? What are you doing? Where are you sitting?
Yeah.
I wonder what it is. It's just my natural way of thinking. I'm very analytical as a person. So yeah, honestly, that's how I fell into this business.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
been a blessing.
incredible. That's so one thing I've now talking with you, um, I think I now know kind of how you got to where you are. You are an amazing storyteller.
Okay.
You can really tell stories. I think from the pitching, from getting investments to getting team members on board, storytelling to convincing creators, to hop on board. Everything is storytelling. Um, yeah, I ask you a
You're
question
spot
and
on,
you
honestly. You're spot on. You're spot on, 100%. Because when it comes to signing clients, for anyone listening to your agency, it's the
Yeah,
story you tell them on that phone call and how you come across that.
yeah,
In the same way, it's the story that you tell your consumers if you're selling products and what's the brand story and how you talk. So you're right. I think that's one of the biggest skills to get or learn is how to communicate what you're trying to say in the best way possible.
yeah. You're an amazing job. And how do you, like how do you duplicate that? Have you duplicated that throughout your team to tell those stories? To basically not sell,
Yeah.
just to tell those stories. Like, how do you duplicate that?
Honestly, like training for sure. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
I let people join with me on phone calls to see how I do it. And that has
Okay.
really helped. For sure. I think it's a known thing. I always say, yeah, don't sell, just get on the phone and just start doing it. So don't
Yeah.
say, I will design you a website. Just design it and show it. Don't say what you're about to do, just do it. And that's the number one thing in anyone running agencies. Everyone's like, I will send you a proposal. You should have come to the phone call with the proposal because you should be
Mm,
assuming it's going to go well. And halfway through, pivot to actually, let me tell you how we can actually do this for you and just start telling them how you can do it for you.
right.
Versus like getting everyone makes the notes, we'll do a sales call and then follow up with the second phone call and here's my deck or here's the pitch, and
Yeah.
people break it up. I'm more like, if we're talking right now, let's talk about it right now. Why
Yeah.
why do I have to arrange another call and do that? So I'm very like in the moment.
Hmm.
The goal is to win the moment, and not trying to just win the call till the next call. I'm like, let's just do it now. Like to be honest, earlier today I was on a call with the massive UAE creator. He's blown up on 600K on YouTube, I think 500K on Instagram. Great views across the whole thing. Got a call with him. He got and just on the call, he I could tell everything I'm saying. He was nodding and like, I haven't
Right.
thought about that. I haven't thought about that. I'm like, cool. What are you doing tomorrow? I'll come and sit with you. Let me look through all your numbers, and we can just do it. So I went from it's an exploratory phone call to now I'm going to his house tomorrow and we're going to work on it. So from there, signing him as a client would become easy, right? So like
Yeah.
I'm going to basically consult, never sell
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
generally consult. Like, don't try to be there to, people get on phone calls and they're trying to see how much do I say to this guy? $3,000, $5,000. You're trying to angle or find, you're trying to figure out your sales pitch. I'm
Yeah.
like, let me tell you everything I know. And in that, naturally, you'd want to work with me. And then his response was, I know what you guys do. You work with some of the biggest creators. To be honest, I'm not even that bothered about how much you're going to tell me it's going to cost. Like, I really want to do this because I just gave the value away. That
Yeah.
he's just like, let's work. So I
Yeah.
think it is like the genuineness of you trying to help people actually ends up making you a lot of money.
Yeah. No, that's great. Great advice. Great advice. What I got just a couple more questions for you. So, as far as in the space that you're in, has there been any challenges as far as being a minority business owner? I know for me, just in America, African American, it's been a lot of different challenges or assumptions or just how I'm kind of looked at by my peers, especially executives, talking with a lot of bigger brands, bigger companies. Um, any challenges that you've had, along the way, and how did you overcome those?
I think lots of challenges. I think that's the ultimate truth. I think even though it's 2023, the color of your skin still matters so much. And it pains me to say that, but it really does in business still. Um, First of all, I think back to raising money, I think it's extremely tough for a minority of any kind to raise money just because most funds are dictated by, the people that went to the top universities and they graduated and they set up the fund, they went to the biggest firms. Like it's groups of people that they wouldn't associate with you. And then, I'm more from the street, let's call it, versus more accomplished. I wasn't that great at education, so I'm not polished. So there is a
Yeah,
little bit of that. So I've had stuff where I'll do a meeting with more of the executives on that side of the world. And I had one guy recently say to me, like, it's just that, your kind is very like, I was like, what do you mean you're kind? He was trying to imply that
yeah,
I'm too straight up, too rash. I'm not so polished. I was like, so I think, yeah, I think the answer to the thing is I do feel it for sure. And I guess where I go past it is that I don't care, to be honest. And I think that that's ultimately it. And I think when you've grown up in a society where racism is the norm, and it's a very horrible thing to almost say out loud, but we're like when you're born into it, like there were 7 brown kids in my school, and I was one of them.
wow,
So when out of probably 1,000 kids, so when you're born into it, like I remember I was bullied. I had this white kid. I remember he used to come like randomly punch me and just walk off. He would come and sneeze on me and walk off. I was skinny. I was small. I'm not going to do anything. Also,
yeah,
if I did, his friends will beat me and my friends up because there's only 3 of us.
yeah,
Um, so I think it's always existed in my life, um, that you're conscious of it, and either that you crumble or it just makes you stronger and you like learn how to maneuver in the world of business
yeah,
personally and all that stuff naturally. But I've been blessed that within my business we're so diverse. There's been never no issues. Like I have no problem working with anyone from any uh, you know place in the world. It's more I have felt it, but I guess strong enough to push
yeah.
through it. And I hope, yeah, I guess with my daughter when she grows up, it's not as bad as it was for me. But yeah, I think that's how I feel about it.
Yeah,
How did it happen
yeah,
to you?
yeah. For me, it's been a roller coaster. I think of just different challenges, but I would say that the more that I lean into who I am and what I'm comfortable in, the more people that are there to celebrate it. There's going to be moments where I may be in a big meeting, executives or even from trying to gain sponsorships for events or whatever, and you're asking for a lot of money and different things, and they're kind of like, oh yeah, well maybe your little thing might work, but I don't know if we're going to get involved. They just use kind of like belittling words almost, and don't take what you're doing serious. Even with all your background and everything that you've done, they still kind of minimize almost what you're doing. And I kind of take that same approach of just not caring, but just going where I'm celebrated, going where the places, because there's plenty of people that are going to celebrate me.
One way I've strategically navigated that as well is that I purposely actually look for, let's call it the other people like ourselves
Yeah,
to go and negotiate with, speak with, whatever, because there's a little bit of like a camaraderie naturally.
Yeah.
Like I just met an investment firm. The main guy's name was Omar. I don't know exactly where he was from, but there was an immediate connection just because of we were both brown, similar age, or whatever, and you can't negate that. It just naturally happens.
Yeah.
So, and funnily enough, like almost every investment I've raised was someone colored
Wow.
until this last one. So all my earlier ones, and I think that
Wow.
was just because of the natural synergy of the other side not looking at you in a different way and more seeing you. It actually benefited me. So I think at times, if you seek out others, let's say in another world, you were sitting on the other side of the table, we're about to do a deal, you would
Yeah.
naturally have a little bit of, let me help this guy out. And that's what
Right.
good people are doing, because they realize that you're like, in my case, it was the guy realized he's a young entrepreneur, he's trying, I could help him out. So I think some people, because what we've been through, what they've been through, especially probably a generation earlier, they are more willing to help. And I think that's the great thing. And if you look for that more, that helps you, because the truth is from everywhere you're feeling it. But that's the one thing that, like, you might as well utilize and connect with others, push forwards, because it is hard. So
Yeah.
I've been a bit strategic with that, trying to seek out other people that I can connect with
Yeah,
faster.
use it to your advantage. Use
That's
use
it.
that to your
Yeah.
advantage instead of constantly thinking it. There's always a positive outlook to everything, as long as how you frame your mind and how you go about it.
And I'll keep it one second for anyone listening. So I lived 8 years in Pakistan. I've seen the other side as well. So we had a white teacher in my school, and how he was treated was not acceptable. So it's not the case of, and I think it's just a case of when the mass is one type and there's a minority is always going to feel some pressures. I don't even like blame people for it. It's how
Yeah,
society is. If 90% of people are one way and you've never seen nothing else, and then the
right.
other thing is, difference. I've been in the opposite situation where I'm the majority and the white
Yeah,
guy was the minority.
right.
And from his name to everything else, and why is he not celebrating? Why is he a different religion? Like I saw how he was being treated, and that's not okay. So I think I've seen both scenarios to realize that it's almost like how the world is, because from a common sense point of view, if 90% people look a certain way and you've never seen anything else, you are born into just, you don't know how to react to people who are different to you almost.
Right.
Regardless of
Right.
like thinking of racism or why, I feel like, because I've seen that when I was on the other side, even I was like, well, why is like this person like this? Because
Yeah.
you're young, you don't know. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm not angry about it, basically. I feel like it's just kind of part of life. I think slowly the world will change, but in pockets of the world, it's always going to be tough.
Yeah, it's always those instincts, that we just have innately just in us. As much as we want to try to say, like, hey, they should be thinking this way, it's so true. I mean, it's so true. If you think about just any kind of mammal that's out there, they're in packs of their own. They're not hanging out, and the lions aren't hanging out with the tigers and the bear, all that. They're in their own kind. So it's just instinct, but I think we can be better at accepting and understanding those differences,
Especially in the Western world, because everything is so available to you and the information and stuff, right? So in
right.
third world countries, it's a bit harder, and you understand why. But in the Western world,
Of course.
yeah, there's no excuse for it anymore because you have access to the information, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I got one more question for you, man. I'll let you get out of here. We are connected to a lot of just influencers, creators. I'm definitely going to connect you with a few after this conversation. So like what all the creators that you're working with, what are they missing? So like obviously this is a trend. This is going in a positive direction and you're helping a lot of creators. Why aren't they doing this already? Like what is that thing that like where Genflow kind of comes in and helps with that, but like why aren't they just creating these businesses themselves? Why aren't they thinking even in this mind frame of like I have 1.2 million followers, they all listen to every word I say. Yeah, the posts are great and I may get brand deals and sponsorship deals, but why are they not thinking this way? What's holding them back in that regard?
I think they're definitely thinking that way and they definitely want to do
Yeah.
it, but do you have the expertise to do it, right? So we're talking about, can they become a CEO of a business which from day one it will have thousands of customers? Do they understand supply chain, infrastructure, how to manufacture products and set it all up, and the website and this and that, and make sure it's all done to the highest standard because they can't mess up. They're not a startup. They're not going to have seven sales. So I think it's smart creators realize that I can spend the next 2 years of my life becoming an operator. Your first question that you asked me on the start of this,
Yeah.
right? Like, what's it being like one? So ultimately, creators are not operators. They are not there to build a business. They don't want to be doing that. They don't want to be sitting on a desk for 7 hours, 10 hours,
Right.
running their
Right.
teams, running their stuff, because they want to create content. And that's what they should be doing. So what I say to people is, I'm sure you're good, because if you build a million, you know, you know what you're doing. You're smart enough to be able to create good content and build an audience, one of the hardest things to do in this world. I'm
Right.
pretty sure if you sat where I'm sat, you will learn it all and you will do such a good job. But then the content will suffer. So the thing that you're great at, the thing that is the hardest thing in the world, which is build an audience, if you're already doing that, you need to go and win that. It's like saying, Michael Jordan should have, why is he training basketball? He should have gone and learned physio. He should have gone and learned how to make his own gym equipment. He should have learned how to set up the plays with the coaches. He doesn't need all that. He's Michael Jordan. It's like, no,
Right.
you need to focus on your craft, become the best content creator possible. Same as an artist. Focus on the lyrics, focus on the song. You don't say that to
Yeah.
Beyonce. Like, no, you got to learn how to manufacture keyboards now and make your
Yeah.
own keyboard, Beyonce. Like, it's not good enough. We don't
Right.
accept this. I think where I found Genflow's place is that the right creators who have big goals in life, they realize that by having a partner on board to provide them the operations, the infrastructure, and the business know-how is a smart thing to do. And that's essentially been it. And in that, then there's different strands. We can help them with content production, brand deals, and lots of other stuff over time. But fundamentally, we become their trusted business partner. And we're very boutique because of that. Because the goal is like we want to be the most trusted person in their life, more than their
Yeah.
mom and dad or whoever else, because we make people a lot of money, and it's built around trust that okay, this person is knows me, is going to do the best thing for me. So I think that's how we have found this. I think but there are some creators that may hire their own CEO who has all the experience and they can afford to pay them from the very beginning or give them a
Yeah.
big percentage or some equity. So I think it exists in pockets and that's cool. But that's the 1%. So there's a 1% they'll do it themselves. Um, like Jake Paul, for example, now has a team and all that. And the previously used lots of companies. So it just depends at what stage or whatever. So what we look for honestly right now is people. We work with the top 1% of creators. That's our niche. So it's people who are
Yeah.
already established, who are already making a lot of money. They've got through the thing mentally that I'm rich. I can buy a car, a Chanel bag. I can go to Bali or whatever. And then you're
Yeah.
like, now what do I do? And that's when we come in. I'll be like, let's do something big. So I think it's just that's what I found, and it's kind of become our thing. If you're a real creator, serious about doing and building something proper, that's where we come in.
Yeah. And I love that you guys use data as
Yeah.
well, and predictions and figuring out, that's kind of like the other piece to it. Yes, you can build a brand, but then how to use the data
Yeah,
and the
I'll tell you
numbers.
now. So if you have 75% same sex following, if you have 50% same location following, you have a high chance of selling something. Because ultimately means people from where you are and who are like you follow you. So you'll have plenty of like
Right.
girls that have following in Russia, Brazil, India, they can never sell anything for many different reasons. Or it could
Yeah.
be a guy who's like really big. It'll be like random followers all over the world because he's doing these crazy reels about how muscly he is. Like that guy can't sell
Yeah.
anything. But then you'll have a
Okay.
guy, so it's not about the audience size. That's the big misconception. So
Huh.
like, we don't care about a million. You can have 300,000, but if you have 300,000, you're based in LA. The analytics are showing me that 80% of your 300,000 are based in LA. They're also guys, and then the same age as you. That's real influence. You can sell shit to them.
Mm.
And 80% of 300,000 people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the guy with 5 million, with 2 million in Brazil, he can't sell anything to them. because people are followed for whatever reason. So yes, we're very hot on analytics. We built a thing called Genetics. We can search
Yeah.
any creator's audience in real time. So when I speak to someone, like the guy I spoke to earlier today, I already knew all his numbers, otherwise I want to speak to him. So I'm like, okay,
Oh,
everything is looking good. His growth rate month on month from a follower point of view is spot on. He was growing about 20, 30,000 per month on each platform, follower wise. So it's consistently growing. The views are going up. His ratio was perfect in terms of where people follow him from. It was basically Dubai, Algeria, Morocco, so all Arab countries. His all content is in Arabic. So it was super interesting because of that. And so, yeah, I think that's probably, obviously, after years of doing this, I was like, how do I scale? And we
yeah.
had to figure out why did those people sell and those didn't? So we
Yeah.
started doing the research to figure it out, to be like, oh, it's quite obvious now. So now when we look for people, we are modeling it on things we've seen before to be like, it's worth it. Because to be honest, yeah, otherwise it's hard. So if someone wants to replicate us, that's the hardest thing. They'll have to just
Yeah.
waste a lot of time making a lot of bets to figure out which
Exactly.
creator would be worth it. Because the same as picking an artist, right? Like at the end of
Yeah.
the day, good labels have some way of figuring out, is this guy got the ability, or a football player or something. It's our
Yeah.
equivalent of that, basically, of trying
Yeah.
to source the right creator.
That's good because you're taking risk. I mean, every time that you sign with somebody, you're taking a risk as much as they're taking a risk on you to, see what's gonna happen.
And I think
So
that's the thing that we've kind of like grown up as the business has grown up. I've truly understood that there can be bad clients. There can be
yeah.
clients that suck the life out of you and your team. There can be
Yeah.
clients that are not worth the money, and it's okay to actually
100%.
connect with them. You know,
Yeah.
and I've terminated 21 creators this year so far for those reasons,
Wow.
because we don't care no more, because we back ourselves. We're like, okay, if you're a waste of time, I'll find another one of you, because there's
Right.
200 million creators in the world now, and we've got to back ourselves to go and find the best ones. Like, instead of whatever it is, dealing with
Yeah.
it, right?
Just
Because
deal
it's
with
never
it.
going to be worth it after you've tried and done everything, and you've tried to make them work your way, and don't be mean to people
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Be respectful, but at some point, it's like it's not worth it. So I think that's the other thing. When you grow up in business, you start to realize and actually have standards as an
Yeah.
organization. Because in the early days, like, I want all the money, right? Like, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
care.
you're grinding, you're just
Whatever.
trying to get it to,
Yeah.
make it happen. But yeah, no, that's dope, man. No, I appreciate your time and you dropped a lot of gems for people and so what's next for you and then where can people find you and get
Yeah.
connected?
To be honest, what's next? I'm just excited about just launching some of the projects that I'm working on this year. It's been a great year so far. Revenue and everything is like in the right place. So yeah, I'm just excited to keep building the space. There are lots of competitors. The place is heating up, but I like that because it just means I'm not the only one saying, creators, you should do your own thing. I have lots of other companies with the same message now, so it kind of is making it easier for
Yeah.
that reason. Because if everyone is trying to pitch the same thing, we can come with a better pitch, or not pitch, consult them and win them.
There you go.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's at Shan Hanif. I also have a podcast called Life of an Entrepreneur. Check that out. It's pretty raw of me just kind of giving you behind the scenes of what's it like running a business. It's more personal. It's like therapy for myself. I just sit and speak out loud what's in my mind. So if
Nice.
you want to hear more of this sort of talk that we've been talking right here, come check it out. And yeah, no, thanks a lot for having me on.
Yeah.
It's great conversation, great questions. You prepared well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, keep doing your thing, man. Yeah, stay on for a couple of minutes after this and then yeah, I'm super excited where you're going because I do think you're right in that vein of something just I mean, you've already achieved so much, but where you could
It
go
still
from
feels
this
like
is
it could go so much bigger because how
you
people
haven't
stay
hit the
connected.
ceiling. Yeah, you have not hit
It's
it.
78% of kids in the US want to be an influencer over everything else as a job.
Yeah,
If you look at the stats, 25% people in the US less college applicants than the year before. So formal education is slowly going to
it's
diminish.
starting to yeah.
Besides real stuff like doctors and all that stuff, but in business degrees, marketing degrees, all of that stuff will diminish, and people are going to want to do their own thing. And their own thing, most smart people will realize that I should build an audience first. Because if I can do that, I can make money easily. Versus, let me launch my agency, my brand, my fashion brand, but where do I get customers from? You'll be paying £7 for a customer, or 20, 30, £50 a
Yeah.
customer on Facebook. Or if you make some content, you'll get these customers for free. So that's why I feel
Right.
like you're right. I feel like if we just continue to do what we're doing long term, there's it's only going to get bigger.
Oh,
So
for
yeah, that's
sure.
what I'm excited about. I'm just excited about the future and hopefully still be in business to capitalize.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Everybody listening, watching, definitely connect with Shan. Don't be afraid to change your circle because you never know where it's going to end up. I always tell people every single time, and only a certain percentage of them actually listen, but definitely go ahead and connect with them. He does respond. Give him some time. He's a busy guy, but definitely connect with them because you never know what's going to happen from that connection. So also like, comment, subscribe, everybody that's watching, listening. We got so much more content coming for you. And don't forget, you could change your circle to change your life. We're out. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for more amazing content that we're going to be putting out. And don't forget, you can change your circle to change your life.